Happiness doesn't depend on what we have, but it does depend on how we feel towards what we have. We can be happy with little and miserable with much. That quote by William Dempster Horde speaks volumes about Mike. We all knew and loved him, and we could see that he was full of life. However, it's what we couldn't see that has brought us together today. But Mike would not want us to ask why. He would simply want us to remember him and smile. So as we are gathered here today, let's celebrate a man who touched us all, and I truly believe loved each and every one of us. I ask that we keep our heads up and keep our love and faith strong, because Mike would have wanted it that way. Let's not focus on his final act, but let's rather focus on the million ways that Mike touched our hearts. If he were standing here today, I could see his smile and his signature laugh and him saying, "Yeah, I know, right?" in his New York accent. Happy with little and miserable with much. We will never know if this is how Mike felt, but as we all know, he definitely had much, and he wasn't afraid to share what he had or use it to share happiness with those close to him. I first met Mike about 6 years ago when we were working on a project in Arizona. He had rented a huge house north of Phoenix that we used as our company crash pad, and he special ordered a brand new Porsche 911 Carrera for us to use as a company car. Each trip that I made to Arizona was welcomed by Mike, and he shared his home and his cars with me like they were my very own. He had a way of making you feel comfortable and welcome about sharing everything that he had. Most wealthy people that I know are very guarded and private about their wealth and their possessions. Not Mike. Now that I look back on why he shared his treasures that he shared, that could have been his cry for help, his way to say that he felt alone. As we finished our work in Arizona, Mike moved back to Atlanta and continued his passion of collecting exotic cars. The Audi R8, the Rolls-Royce Phantom, and the Mercedes S63 AMG, they were all fun to drive, but I will never, ever forget the ride of my life with Mike on Christmas Eve of last year. Mike knew the perfect gift that he could give me and knew that I would remember it forever. As I arrived at his home, he opened the garage door and there sat a new, jet black Lamborghini Gallardo. No, he didn't give me the car, simply sitting in it was gift enough. And he insisted that I drive it. As some of you may remember, he had it special ordered from Italy and it was completely blacked out, including the wheels. As Mike would say, this car oozed sexiness. After checking it out, we hopped in and he gave me a lesson on how to drive such a fine piece of Italian engineering. This car was more like a fighter jet than an automobile. I remember that it had less than 50 miles on it. He gave me the keys to a $250,000 car. Why? Because this is the kind of guy Mike was. He simply cared more about his friends and their happiness than he did his own possessions or his own happiness. After Mike let me drive it around like I was a 90-year-old grandma in a Lincoln on the way to church, Mike hopped in the driver's seat to show me what the car really could do. Now I won't go into details because I think the Buford, Georgia Police Department still has a bolo out for a black Lamborghini doing 140 in a 35-mile-an-hour zone on Christmas Eve. Yes, we broke a few laws that night, but I like to think that Mike did that because he knew that that ride would be the one Christmas gift that I would keep for the rest of my life. Since Mike made that final choice that he made, I have struggled with what could I have done differently to stop it. No one will ever know that answer. I like to think that maybe Mike knew how to pilot his life like he knew how to pilot those exotic cars. Maybe we are all just eking by in our mundane jobs someday to have the finer things in life. But maybe, just maybe, Mike knew that happiness was not in money, cars, and toys. He may have felt miserable with much and spent his time with those of us that didn't have as much to find happiness. I hope that he is looking down on us now with that great smile and now has happiness. I hope he can hear me and know that I am proud to have known him and he will always be my friend. I will ask this of all of you. Please talk to someone, anyone, if you ever feel the way Mike did. We do not need another friend taken too soon.